All right, good morning, everyone. Christine Boland from Remax Ace on Kennedy Road. Come join us for some good training every week. Today we're going to do the new ad edit in Realm. We have to learn this because Stratus is being phased out in the next 5 months. They extended it because I think they thought everybody would be in a mass panic because it would have been gone already. It was supposed to be the end of February, but it's extended till July 30th, I believe. So little less than 5 months, we're going to not have it anymore. So we have to learn how to use the listing ad edit in Realm. So we're going to go over that today. I know we were just talking, Sri and I here in the office. He was saying, oh, well, I can't add edit on my own. If you go to Realm and you go to add edit and you find the function isn't there for you, it's because we don't have everybody's permissions turned on. When you load your listing, you have to be really careful that the information is accurate, that the stuff that you've put in there is loaded properly, that you've attached the right schedules, different stuff like that. So it's really important that you guys go through a couple of learning sessions with us. So if you have the interest to add edit on your own, you have to be able to go through it once or twice with us, and then we'll get the permissions turned on at the office individually, right? So some of you are already doing it, I know, because you call me on the regular and you say, hey, how do I do this or that, whatever. But if you go and you try to find this function today to follow along, that's why I was saying to come in too, so I could troubleshoot and see who has it and who doesn't. We could turn your permissions on while you're doing your training. So I don't know if you guys are following along at home. Anybody not have that function set up on their Realm, the ad edit? Have you guys checked online to see if your ad edit is there? So let me
No,
just
I
share.
don't have. I
You
don't
don't
have.
have. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little hard to follow along. Next time you're in the office, we can get them to turn it on, and we'll walk you through one. Yeah.
It says listing ad edit option, right? If I click there,
For what? To click there? What does it say when you click there? You do not have this permission?
no, there's if you go to Realm, right?
Yeah. Okay. So when you go to Realm, I'm just going to open it up here so you guys can see where you're supposed to be looking for it. Up here in the top here, it's going to say,
Okay, bottom third one.
okay. So listing ad edit here with the pencil, and click on it. And your next screen should look like this. Does it look like that? No. So then you don't have your thing turned on yet. We'll
I
get,
have one lease listing, it's not even showing it here.
yeah,
It's supposed to show it.
because you're not supposed to like edit it or whatever unless you
Yeah.
have the permission turned on. So you what the advantage to this, I guess you could say, is that you can always get the people. Hold on, let me just let a couple more people in here on the Zoom. 1 second. I got people trying to get in. That's why I always try to wait a few minutes, because then I don't interrupt while letting people in. Okay. Yeah. So, advantage, you never have to do the work. I mean, you throw it at the front desk and they're going to load it. Full service office at the end of the day, the girls at the front desk are fantastic. They'll load your listing for you. But the disadvantage is that you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to curate it on your own. I find that very often when I have a draft going for a listing, I'll go back in 15 times to tweak what I put in the comments, to, maybe switch the pictures around in a way that I like, just, to do different things to the listing to make it look really good. Also, the disadvantages is if anything changes, you're constantly relying on the front desk for that. You might say, oh, we're going to change the price, or, oh, we're going to change, I want to change the description, or, oh, my client wanted to add that, there's a gazebo in the backyard. You have to keep on calling for every single little thing. So you just as practice should know how to add and edit your own listings. So we're just going to go through a little bit of practice today, and we're going to get started on showing you how to add a listing. Okay, so
How'd you get here?
I already went through that part. You were a bad student. You weren't paying attention.
You drive from home.
I drove from home. Yeah, exactly. They're bugging me how I got to the screen. So everybody knows how we got to this screen. We went to the dashboard as soon as you log in, and then we clicked Done Realm. The very next page is this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start typing in an address. So let's list. 1 second. Let me let someone else in. What are we gonna list today? Let's find something around the office. Hold on. How about we do that? So first I'm gonna go to Realm and I'm just gonna search something in the EO4 area. So we'll find something that we're gonna pretend list.
Condo freehold.
We're gonna do freehold today. If I get around, we'll do condo. It's not much different, just a little extra information we have to put in. So Toronto. Everybody been using the search function for Realm? How are you guys finding it?
Easy peasy.
Do we want another training session
Yes.
for Realm? Yeah, how to use Realm. I find that one of the first things I get all the time is when I come in here, everybody's saying to me, oh, why does your screen look like that? Because they haven't spent enough time in Realm. They haven't customized their screen, right? I kind of made mine mimic what Stratus looks like. So that's what I like. When I come in, my default is a Stratus looking Realm screen. So, okay. So now we're going to go in the EO4 area and we're just going to look around the office and we see, as soon as it catches up there, 9 Linden new listing. Okay, so we're just going to keep that up on our screen and looks like a new build kind of house. We're going to list this property right now, even though it's already listed. So I'm going to go to the ad edit and I'm going to search by address. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start by searching the address. So this is 9 Linden Avenue. No, what is this saying here? There we go. 9 Linden M4Y 1V5. That's the same one, right? No, M1K. I think it's a bad one to start with. I don't know why it's not coming up right away. Let me find out. Let's do something that we can find right away. The reason why is because I want to show you guys all the other things that you have to search for. Let's do 111 Wilkes. Let's see if that one comes up right away because I don't know why that one's being funny. Okay, we have 111 Wilkes Crescent, M1L0B2, right? Why these postal codes are not matching up? M1L, Y Valley. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong one. We're gonna go to Wilkes. M1L0B2. There we go. Okay. So the first thing that's really good about Realm is you never really knew whether the address you had typed in was correct or valid, like I just did, and you couldn't really find it until you got to the very end and it told you, hey, this address can't be found on the map. This one finds it right away. And like you see, it pops up with the postal code and everything. So say you had a little bit of a spelling error there, you see it wouldn't have come up for me unless it was a correct, valid address. So it did that. Now we're going to go on and say Remax Ace Brokerage. It comes there as default. Now, who's the member? Who's the member who's doing this? So it's going to be me because I'm entering this. So it's Christine, and the transaction type is going to be for sale and freehold, residential freehold. And the property subtype is going to be a detached home. And then we're just going to check here that the address is correct again, 111 Wilkes Crescent. If there's any street direction to add, north, south, east, or west. If there's an apartment or a unit number, it's Toronto, EO4, clearly Birchmount, and then we're going to continue. And when we create this, it's going to create where the draft of where we go in. So once you create this, you can always go into your drafts and look at it, even if you don't enter the whole listing at the same time. So for instance, say I just went here and I put the cross streets. What are the cross streets? Okay. So the cross streets here on Wilkes, they're saying, well, you know what? We should go and look it up and see. So normally when you're looking up the cross streets, and I'm going to go into Google Maps for a couple different reasons, not just the cross streets, but the fronting on. So we're going to go to Maps. 111 Wilkes. Okay, so we see here it's Wilkes Crescent, okay? And the main cross streets, I would say, are Danforth Road and Warden Avenue, right? You can pick anything you want. There's no real wrong answer for this one. It's not like something that you're necessarily going to get in trouble for not entering it properly. But Warden Avenue and Danforth Road. So you're just trying to zone in and give people an idea where it is. So you don't want to use anything too small that they don't know, an obscure road that they might not have heard of. So I've seen people put stuff where I go, where is it? So if they put Wilkes Crescent and Seminoff, that doesn't really tell me where it is. It's not going to help the public when they're looking at your listing on realtor.ca identify where your listing is. So you want to pick something that's a little more major around, that's familiar to people. They can go, oh, it's Warden and Danforth area. Great. I have an idea of where that is. Okay. So they're looking for the most main intersection in this case. And then you're going to go and you're going to say it's fronting on. So the fronting on is always something people get confused about. I know I go over it a lot in different training, but in this case, we always know that up is north. So north, east, south, and west, right? You guys can all see my mouse there. Actually, should I highlight my mouse for you? There we go. Okay. Where's my little highlight button there? They changed it. Okay. So anyways, north, east, south, and west. I'm going to say this is technically it's northwest. It's the northwest corner. They don't give us that option when we're loading our listings. So we're just going to say that it's on the north. I think it's more north than anything else. 1 second here. Here we go. So come back here and we'll say it's fronting on the north. Okay. So everybody see how that is? That's the north side of the street. I know a lot of people get confused because they say, but the house is facing south. So they always say, oh, well, it's technically south. It's always the opposite. The fronting is always the opposite, the way that the house is facing, right? So your front door may be facing towards the south, but the house is fronting on the north side of the road. Does everybody get that? I know a lot of people get confused with that. Okay, then we're going to move on and we're going to go lot front and lot depth. Okay, so we're going to pretend like this is an old listing that we're looking at because we pulled up the old listing to see maybe what they've changed in the house over the years and whatnot. And we're just going to look at the information that it says on here. And it's going to say that the lot front, let me just find it here. I'm blind this morning and everything's always like new in Rome. There we go. Lot size 1807 by 84.1. Okay. So the worst thing you can do is go to the old listing and take it off that listing and put it into your new listing that you're ad editing. So what you're supposed to be doing, I'm just going to open one more tab here, is we should be going into our Geo Warehouse to check everything, because Geo Warehouse is not going to change, right? It's what the city puts out there. It's valid information from the city that's entered. So even if this agent has made a mistake, for instance, and put 18 and technically it's supposed to be 28, they made a typo. Is whatever the Geo Warehouse says is what's 100%. So going forward, imagine that you sell a property and the person comes back to you and says, hey, your listing said that the lot was 28 by something, and I don't think it is. And I wanted to put this addition on it, and now I'm not getting the approval for it. I'm not getting the permit from the city. You can always prove that you went back to your Geo Warehouse and checked it, because Geo Warehouse will not change. Geo Warehouse is the information at the end of the day from the city. So you can prove that you did your due diligence. You won't get into any trouble that way. So you should be opening up your Geo Warehouse every single time you do a listing. And I'm going to just type in 111 Wilkes. Okay, and you see it comes up there, and you can click on property report. Okay. And while you're in here, you're going to just scroll down and you can see that it says 1804 by 8399, right? So what did this listing say? Did he have it correct? 1807 by 84.1. So very interesting. See how it's different? So in this case where there's a discrepancy, I'm always going to put what the Geo Warehouse says, not what the previous listing said, because just like I'm entering the listing now, when that listing was entered, it was some agent that entered that listing. So you have to make sure that you're verifying the information on Geo Warehouse to make sure that it's correct. So in this case, I'm going to put what Geo Warehouse says, which is 1804 and 83.99, right? So we'll go 1804 and 83.9, whoops. 83.99. And that's going to ask me what code that is. That's in feet. Okay. And I'm pretty much finished the first page there. And another thing is, I don't know if you guys have been loading your listings in Stratus at all. When you were loading your listing in Stratus, it was just a big long page and you couldn't find out what you had missed on what tab. They've really organized and separated how you're loading your listings now. So it's very easy to find mistakes, very easy to find what section you're in, or if you're missing some information. So I'm going to go over to the next tab. If I was missing information in this tab, usually it notifies me. So say I had not put in the lot front. We'll just take this part out for a second, 1804. You see how automatically that little hazard sign comes up on that tab? That's mostly because I just erased it just now, but if I hadn't entered it to begin with, when I go over to the next tab, it would pop up like that. And I go, oh, so I'm very aware that I'm missing some information on that part of the page. So I go back here. Really, really, really good, because the last entering on Stratus, it would just let you know at the very, very end in tiny red, oh, you're missing the lot front. And then you'd have to scroll through the whole thing and find it again. So really super user-friendly. I'm enjoying this ad edit a lot. So now we're going to put the price. So I'm just going to say we're listing for $825. We'll talk about actual price, another time. And let's just say the taxes are $3206.17. Okay. And you see here, usually when we ask for our clients' information, maybe like the first 6 months of the year, they're gonna, well, maybe 8 months of the year, they're gonna let us use last year's. They're not gonna let us use the previous year. So our only options are 2023, 2024. So remember that when you're sitting for your listing appointments and your client says, I can only find my 2022 tax bill, you can't say, oh, that's okay, don't worry, it's close, because you don't know if the taxes have gone up recently. And as per our MLS listings and MLS rules, we're only allowed to load 2023, 2024 right now, right? So generally that rule follows, a little bit into the year. So I'm just going to say that my client hasn't got a new tax bill yet. They're using their 2023, perfectly acceptable by MLS rules. And we're going to go on, and the contract commencement. So when I do your listing appointment training, I go over the contract for the listing agreement. And I think I should do one soon, because now we have a whole lot of new things. We have the Schedule A, we have the designated representative and everything to go over. So good training to have soon. But the contract commencement. So say you are sitting with your client today and you're signing that it is March 19th. And they say to you, when I know it's Tuesday, though, give me the rest of the week. I'm going to finish up the painting. And you know what? On Saturday, we'll start the showings. I see a lot of listing agreements signed incorrectly, because they'll say, okay, the 19th, they'll put 19th contract commencement, then they'll sign the date. Everybody thinks it has to match. The reason why they put that separate in our agreement is so you can put a different date than today when we're signing. So if my client said to me, okay, you know what, today's the 19th, I want to paint, give me until Saturday, we can start showings. MLS does not allow you to have a listing active up on MLS that is not showable, right? It's against their rules. So yeah. Sorry, did somebody say something? Anyways, they don't allow you to have a listing up that's not showable. So if I put my listing up today, because I dated it today, but people are calling me and I go, oh, you know what? We're not showing until Saturday because my client's painting. That's incorrect. You can get fined for that. Okay. So it has to be a live actual showable listing up on MLS when you put it up. So I'm not going to load my listing today, even though I'm getting my listing paperwork signed. I'm going to sign March 19th. And then I'm going to tell the contract commencement date is going to be the 23rd. Okay. And the 23rd is Saturday. That's when they're finished their painting. Great, no problem. Okay. So here I'm going to put the 23rd. So you see here, automatically, it's not going to allow me to put the 23rd. And why is that? Again, because I just told you, we're not allowed to put the listing up unless it's actually showable. So just for today, I'm going to pretend that it's the 19th. Okay. And the expiry date. The expiry date is generally something we put, you know, a couple of months from now. We see a lot of 3-month, 4-month kind of listings, right? So I'm just going to put any date here. Put June 30th. I don't know why that highlighted. Okay. And then possession date. So possession date and possession remarks. Every field with an asterisk has to be filled out. That's a mandatory field. Okay. The only case I find is this anomaly, which is possession date and possession remarks. It's an either or. So say my client absolutely has to close on June 16th because they have to coordinate with a purchase they made. You can go here and you can pick June 16th. Or you can go to possession remarks and put something like, see how it goes red because I was supposed to fill it out? Or I can go TBD, like to be determined, right? Okay. And then you see how it came off red. So even though both of these have asterisks on them and like they act like they're mandatory, it's an either or. Once you fill one out, it sort of negates the other. So it's fine to fill out one or the other. Okay. And then holdover days, you're either going to put your 90 or 120 here. And then we come to the seller name. So the seller name, again, you should be checking Geo Warehouse. So just for interest, I'm going to go here and see what this agent put was the seller name. Oh, this one's Toronto Dominion Bank. So this one seems like it's a foreclosure or a power of sale. So I'm just going to go to Geo Warehouse, pretend like we're loading it regular so we can see what the owners' names are. So we have the owners' names here. I'm just going to copy and paste it to make sure I get the right spelling there. Okay. And then I'm going to go on to the next tab. So the next tab is exterior. Okay. So for the exterior, they're also adding a bunch of fields. I don't know if you guys noticed, if you read up on it and checked it out. They're adding a bunch of fields. I think I should go over this again in about another maybe week or two once they've established it. It hasn't really fully come into play. I don't know if you guys have noticed that some fields are mandatory that weren't before, that you have to answer. Like we never used to have to answer link. That's been in here for a while now, maybe like 8 months to a year. Now it's been a mandatory field, but it wasn't a mandatory field before. They're doing a lot of that with some waterfront portions and stuff like that I was reading. So we'll go over it again, but just remember that anything with the asterisk is mandatory, right? So we picked detach already. Now it's going to make me say whether or not it's a link, yes or no. Okay. So if I click no, nothing happens. If I click yes, okay, it's going to make me put in what the, oh, sorry, I'm totally spazzing here. That's a parcel of tied land. But yes or no has now become a mandatory field, which it never was before. Okay. And then the parcel of tied land, this is the part that I was looking at. No, if you put no, nothing happens. If you put yes, it's going to bring up and make you put in what the parcel of tied land monthly fee is, which is great because we never had this field before. You'd always find the parcel of tied land fees in the either the broker remarks or the remarks to the clients. So really good feature now. It's right in there. It kind of reminds us to put it in, which is great because I find a lot of agents would miss that it was a parcel of tied land because they would put, it's a parcel of tied land, but you didn't have this yes or no. And then they'd forget to put in the fees and a lot of deals would go awry because nobody knew there was a monthly fee associated with it. They'd just think it was freehold. So, and then of course, regular stuff here where we go and we pick the style. So we're going to pretend this is a bungalow. I don't remember what it was. I didn't take that good a look at the listing.
House, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the geo doesn't show it, just to say detached.
Even on the second tab, like we used to tab over, remember? Even Geo's kind of changed now because it's scrolled down, but remember how you used to tab over on the Geo? We'd have to find and see. So
Say single family detached.
yeah.
And then
This one says row or townhouse, yeah. So Sri's just asking like the link, he finds that sometimes it hasn't always said it's a link. So for those of you who are used to the old Geo Warehouse, this is the new one where we're scrolling down now, which I kind of don't like. I like the tab way too. I find this is so much to scroll through. I'm looking for stuff all the time. But anyways, this page that we're looking at right now was sort of the second tab that we tab over. And it would say here whether or not it was a link. You see here, this one says it's a row townhouse. It says the year built, how many bedrooms and all of that stuff. Sri was just saying sometimes he finds that it doesn't say link. For real though, you found ones that are a link, you know for sure, that don't say link in Geo Warehouse. That might work to your advantage though.
Yeah,
You know why?
they didn't put it with-
Because yeah, not that I'm saying to do anything, but I find a lot of people don't want to put link in their listing because you know they sell a little bit less than the detached freeholds, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So if you happen to check Geo Warehouse and Geo Warehouse doesn't have it, you can kind of plead the fifth and say I checked and maybe it wasn't there, but I don't know. It's hard to plead ignorance when we're in trouble with our board, when we're in trouble with RICO or TREB or any other kind of thing, because we hold a license and they say to us all the time, they come down hard on us for a reason. They say, you're the professional, you should know. It's like a doctor saying, well, I didn't know that was the appendix, you know what I mean? Or I didn't know how to, you know, that wasn't supposed to do that during surgery. So we're supposed to be the experts at the end of the day, but you should be checking Geo all the time. So at least you have something to fall back on in your defense to say, I checked it and it said row townhouse, or I checked it and link wasn't there, right? So here we go on to this now. So it's bungalow, and we're gonna say what the exterior is. My phone's ringing off the hook. Okay, exterior. Don't know why it's not popping up here. There we go. Okay, so exterior. So we'll just pick that this one is brick, but you can pick anything else, you know, say it's brick and there's some stonework on it, right? You can pick a couple of different exteriors. And then the garage type. So we all know the different types of garage types. I find some people get confused with this as well. Attached is if it's attached to the house. Built in. What's the difference between built in and attached?
Built-in means the garage will get into the house. So you have, when you go to the basement, you can find the difference.
Yeah, no, there's not always a basement. Some of them.
Built-in meaning like the garage is 3/4 or 1/2 of the garage will be inside the basement. Attached means just is the wall attached to the
Yeah.
house. And but still you have the door from the garage to get into the house.
Yeah.
It's architecturally the built-in means inside the
Yeah, it's part of the house. So I always say a good way to tell me if it's built in, whether it's part of the basement or whether it looks like you have to go down. You know, some of them are like down sort of half under the ground, some are level with the ground. And a lot of people get really confused. Is there a room on top of it? Like, is it actually built into the house? You know what I mean? That's the best way for me to figure it out. I'm like, oh, there's room on top. It's like literally built into the house. So that's important to some people. Some people do not like it. Have you ever come across a client who doesn't like when the rooms are above the garage because they feel like the fumes or something? Like, you know, I don't know. I've had clients who've done that. I tried to sell a house on Creekwood once in Oak Meadows, and somebody was like, I don't like it. It's a built-in garage. I don't want my children sleeping on top of the garage, right? Anyways, a lot of them, right? You know what I mean? Because it's space saving for the builder because they're not taking up extra space for the garage without living space around or on top of it, right? Whereas the house looks big, but this chunk of it's the garage. And anyways, yeah, definitely a builder favorite for new builds. Carport is when there's like, you know, some sort of structure over it, but it's not completely closed in. And then detached is if it's a separate structure, right? And then here's another part where we get confused. Garage parking spaces. Okay, we're just going to go and click what kind of driveway it is first of all. So let's say it is a private driveway. Okay. So garage type. Sorry, I didn't pick the detached. There we go. Garage type, we're going to say it's a detached. Garage parking spaces, the detached can fit 1, but the private driveway can fit 2. So our total parking spaces is 3. Do we see that? Okay. I find a lot of listings are listed wrong when I read it. I go, how are they doing their math here? Like, I think they're just going, okay, parking spaces. Some people I would see something like this, 3, 3, right? And then 3. And I'm like, is it 6 or is it just 3, right? A lot of agents are listing that wrong. So I'm just gonna say 1, 2, and then 3 altogether there. Okay, water. Most of the time, 99%, we're dealing with municipal water, but do not be tricked. Do not just assume that because you do work in Scarborough. Scarborough has, so when I was growing up in Scarborough, it was the tail end of a lot of the high end, Cliff Crest, EO8. Those were all cottages back in the day, right? Because Scarborough was a thoroughfare. Kingston Road had all motels on it because a lot of people would take that way through before the 401 was built, right? That's a long, long time ago. Think about it, before the 401 was built. But a lot of that in Cliff Crest, if it's not rebuilt, even though it looks like a nice old bungalow, a lot of that's on septic, especially when you get down into the Guild, into that area. It can look like a pretty solid house and it can still not be connected to the city. So be very careful in what area you're working in. Another section is South Pickering, like Rougemont area, just west of, just east of Liverpool there. That's another area that looks tricky, looks like houses, you assume it's municipal, but a lot of it's on sewer and septic and well. So be careful. So we're going to say this is municipal water. And there is no pool. And the sewers are sewers hooked up to the city. Okay. And then you can go ahead and you can pick any of these. And I'm going to try to click on, okay, waterfront. Okay, it didn't tell me that time, but say I want to know if my listing is complete at this point. I know I missed a part here in exterior. You can go at any point and you can validate, okay? And it's going to tell you what you're missing in your listing. So it's saying I'm missing stuff on all of these tabs. So I know once I clear that out, I have the listing loaded properly. Another thing is, actually, it just automatically did it for me. I don't know if you guys caught that, which I find really great. Every now and then you'll see this button flicker. It's automatically saving for you, but you can go ahead and do a save if you want. Okay. Say I get busy, I had to go do something. I had to go do some showings. Now I've come back to this and it's bumped me out of Realm, because we're timed. We log back in. You can come in here into Realm again, and I'm going to click on drafts to find what I was working on. So the draft here is going to be Wilkes. Okay. And I'm going to come back in and I'm going to start again. So over here, I was looking at the exterior. And the part I know I missed, because I was trying to get it to pop up an error for me there, was special designation. So most of the time we're going to go unknown, but sometimes you have a land lease house, right? Or a heritage house or expropriation or accessibility. We'll go over all of that stuff on another time because I don't want to run out of time. It's already 11:07 and I want to get through the rest of these tabs. So we're going to tab on to waterfront. Waterfront is going to deal more with, cottage country, or maybe you're on the waterfront somewhere in Brampton in a nice little pocket or something where there's a little lake. You're going to put different features on there. None of these are mandatory though, because most of the time we're not dealing with waterfront property right here in Toronto. Interior, you're going to list the interior. So rooms. I always get confused by this, right? Not me, sorry. Everybody gets confused by this. So how many rooms are in a house? So normally in, say, a 3-bedroom house, so we're going to have, we're dealing with a bungalow right now. So let's pretend it's a bungalow. And I'm going to say it's 3 bedrooms, 1, 2, 3. And then I have the kitchen, the living, and the dining. Okay, that's 6. So I'm going to say there's 6 rooms. Plus downstairs, I have a 2-bedroom apartment, but it only has a kitchen and a living. There's not really a dining space area. So that's 2 bedrooms and a kitchen and a living. So 4, okay? That's total in the house, total number of rooms in the house. Now I'm going to go on to bedrooms. I said there was 3 bedrooms up and 2 bedrooms down. The plus bedrooms are always something that are not on the same floor as all the other bedrooms. So sometimes in a 2-story, you might have 3 up and an office space or bedroom space on the main floor. You could do 3 plus 1. Say that one also has an additional 2-bedroom in the basement. That'd be 3 plus 3. Anything that's not with the main bedrooms. Okay. And same with the kitchen. How many kitchens? We have 1 on the main floor and 1 in the basement, the plus kitchen. Okay. Washrooms. We're going to go ahead and do washrooms. We say we have 1 2-piece on the main floor. Okay. And 1 4-piece on the main floor. Okay, and we're gonna put a 1 3-piece on the lower level. So what is the difference here? 2-piece, we're gonna have 2-piece powder room, which is toilet and sink. A 4-piece is gonna be toilet, sink, tub, shower, okay? And then in the basement apartment, we put a toilet, sink, and shower, okay? Then you can get fancy with jacuzzis and stuff like that and get to 5 pieces, but most of the time that's what we're seeing. Family room, what is a family room? Something other than the dining room. So you have a kitchen, living, dining room combined, and then in the back of the house, there's a family room, right? So it has to be something additional. So we're gonna say in this case, it's a basics bungalow. You don't normally see it. We're gonna say no. Basements, again, you have a choice of picking more than one. So you really want to pick things that are going to showcase your property. So separate entrance, if it has, I think you should always put that first. If the property has it, because everybody's looking for that separate entrance. And then whether it's finished with a walkout. So we'll just say this one is finished. Okay. And then fireplace, stove, yes or no. Your heat type, you can pick your different heat types here, gas or forced air. Your air conditioning, let's just say it's central air, okay? And then you have the opportunity to put what the laundry level is, whether it has central vac, whether there's any UFI present, if there's an elevator. I wish there was an elevator in my house. Sometimes when I'm up, down 1,000 times. Let's just say it's in the lower level here in this bungalow. Okay. I just kind of zip through that part because it's pretty basic. If you guys get stuck on it, you can always call me, but I want to get to sort of the end when a little bit here. So hi, how are you? So we're going to add some room detail. So I'll just do 1 or 2 here. I'm going to go to the main floor. I'm going to say the main floor. It has a kitchen, right? So we'll go down to kitchen. Okay. The length and width of the room. Again, please, please, please do not go by the old listing. You don't know who measured that. And unless you want to bank on it, okay, see, this agent didn't do it. I was going to say you're better off leaving it blank, okay? Because if you put in a wrong room dimension, somebody might say, oh, I had plans to get a permit for this kitchen to redo it, and you put it was this by this, and I wanted to do this, and now it doesn't work, and I'm going to come back on you for the thing. So it's better for you to just have it blank than actually put in wrong. So generally what I do is I have my handy dandy laser. I take on my listing appointments with me and I laser measure the rooms quickly. If I find that, the first 4 or 5 are really accurate, generally I'll stop, but no harm in just measuring everything quickly to make sure that it's accurate. Okay. So length and width, and then you're going to put in your description. So description words are stuff that is going to sell your listing. Hi, how are you? Whether it has an ensuite or whether it's an eat-in kitchen or whether it has a walk-out to the patio, or these are going to enhance your listing because people are going to go, oh, wow, look, the kitchen overlooks the pool or overlooks the ravine. Whatever is in there in the description that'll entice people to come in and see your listing is what you're trying to do. Trying to showcase it well online. Okay, comments. They have changed this section. I don't know if you guys have noticed, we have a lot of different sections now, which I think works. I think it really, really works because we didn't have it before and you're kind of like, why? Why don't we have it? Why do we have inclusions and we don't have exclusions? Didn't make sense. So really, really good. And rental items is a great way to remind people to put the rental items in, right? So remarks for clients. What are you going to put here? Your flowery description. How are you enticing the person? It's like a good book. The first few pages are going to draw that person into reading the rest of the book. The first few lines here is what's going to make people read and come into your listing. So beautiful house in sought after neighborhood, you know what I mean? Solid brick bungalow, something that's going to entice them to read. Okay. The extras. What are the extras? So the extras are, hey, you know what? This also, beautiful Zen garden, backs onto ravine, great walking trails, something you really think showcases the property, serene gazebo, sitting space in the backyard, whatever. The inclusions. So what is included? Fridge, stove, washer, dryer, anything that's a chattel that's movable, right? So you don't have to itemize things that are fixed to the house. So generally people ask me, oh, what about that shelving unit? So as a rule, I kind of check it and I go, well, it's screwed onto the wall. I'm 99% chance this is staying. I think it's a fixture. But what I think is a fixture versus the seller might say, no, that's not a fixture. We just screwed it to the wall for safety for the children. If your client has asked about something that you're not sure if it's a fixture or a chattel, like something like sometimes those IKEA wardrobes, the seller might move them, right? At the end of the day, it's always good to include it as a chattel, as an inclusion in here, because it gives the seller the opportunity to cross it out if it's not included. They might say, no, I'm taking my IKEA wardrobe with me, even though you go, but like, how are you going to get that out? It's pretty much like stuck there, right? So inclusions, that's what that's going to include. So generally we see fridge, stove, washer, dryer, built-in dishwasher, built-in microwave, range, hot tub, maybe barbecue. Sometimes I throw the barbecue in there. It's a good trick because I find a lot of people don't read it. The listing agent doesn't read, and I've gotten free barbecues almost like all the time from my clients. I actually sold one last summer at like Port Union and Lawrence area, and there was a big fight because the guy was like, but that's my expensive barbecue. Well, I knew that and my client knew that because he said, hey, I really like the barbecue, and I put it in inclusions, right? So you never ever know at the end of the day what's going to happen. Put it in there and see what happens. Exclusions. So if you have noticed that the listing says that chandelier in dining room is excluded because you know it was a wedding present or something, it's an opportunity for you to put it in here. A lot of times I don't find the buyer putting in exclusions. Usually if it gets signed back from the seller, you'll see that they'll exclude. If they notice the barbecue's in there, they might cross it off and go, no, put the barbecue in exclusions. Rental items. So again, you see hot water tank very often. Don't always assume it's just the hot water tank. Ask the questions. A lot of people have their furnace and AC on rental. And that can be a big expense at the end if the buyer is really upset that you didn't disclose that it was a rental, right? And the remarks for brokerages. So all these sections can be seen by the public, but remarks for brokerages is the one that is not. So the public can't see this. This is where we can write notes to each other, broker to broker. We can say, you know, please don't let the cat out. Please include the disclosure. Please, you know, give me your 801. The bid date is May 17th. Whatever you want to put in here that you want the other broker to know, that the public doesn't necessarily need to see, that has to do with the listing. Okay. Okay, so here we go to other. We're going to put our information here. It always asks us to put in our phone number. I don't know why. Maybe just in case our phone number changes over the years and we don't fix it. Okay. And then what the commission is to the co-op brokerage. So we normally see 2.5%. Okay. Seller property information statement. I don't know why they haven't phased this out yet. I would like to meet an agent that actually uses this, but most of the 99% of the time it's no. And then distribute to internet. Yes, we want to distribute to the internet. We want the exposure. That's why we're putting it up on MLS. Display address on internet. Yeah, unless our client wishes for some reason for us not to. They don't want their address out there. Distribute to DDF IDX. So what is this? So I always say yes. This is the portal that's going to let things like Zillow, Zolo, all those other things, House Sigma, anything that's pulling listings from MLS on a regular basis. This is where it reads off of. So why would your client not want this? I had a client once say to me, I don't like what I think it was Zillow. I don't like what Zillow has valued my property at. I find it's low. I want to sell for $950. And if you look at my house on House Sigma or Zillow, it says my property is worth $885, right? So a lot of clients might think that that's hurting them. And they go, I don't want you loading it on there. Well, we're not loading it on there, but here is where we have the opportunity to say no. So if you say no, nobody who's built a website who has a filter coming there, nobody who like Zillow, House Sigma, all of those, even for instance, our KV Core, our Remax, back office, anybody who subscribes to the Toronto Real Estate Board to get the listings filtered, nobody will get those filtered into their websites automatically. Okay, so if your client has a problem with it, here's where you'd choose no. But other than that, I would choose yes, because it's good exposure. The more places it's on, the more, you know, popular the listing is, the more it can be seen, right? And then you have the opportunity to put your open house date and times, your virtual tours, if you have a brochure, if you have a map location, a sound bite, anything, any other thing attached to your listing you can put here. And then the second last tab is the photos. So we're going to upload our photos here. It lets us do 40 photos, which is great. That's expanded over the years. I don't know if you guys remember the days of 20 photos.
9,
Sorry,
9 only.
did you have a question? Okay. Anyways, so this will let you upload 40 photos. Okay. And then our last tab is attachments. So what do you want to attach to your listing? So every single one of our listings, we have a Schedule B from the office. So we're going to go and upload that listing. So I mean that schedule. So I have it here on my, I just want to find it so I can attach it and show you guys. We have our Schedule B from our office. So we're just going to go here and attach it. Every single one of our listings should have a Schedule B attached to it. Okay, so if you're loading your own listing, you should do that. And then you're going to say, okay, you know what? What is this? It is a schedule. And then you're going to upload, say this is your own property or you're related to the seller. Maybe you have a disclosure. So I'm just going to go and click rental application. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to pretend it's a disclosure. Okay. But you see, you also have other options. You can upload floor plans. You can upload that seller property information statement, which we never do. Financials, feature sheets, environmentals, you know, other property information. Maybe you have, I don't know, like a garden. I've seen people put up their beautiful garden certificate from the city. Whatever you want to put up with a listing that you can't fit in a regular tab, you can attach to the listing here. Okay. Some people attach the survey, you know, different things like that. All right, does anybody have any questions about all of that? Have you guys been trying to load your listings yet? Like I say, if you go in and you try to load your listing and it is not there, there's a reason why. It's because your permissions haven't been turned on. So we just encourage you to come in. That's why I was saying come in with your laptop, because once you get the practice of loading your first listing and you kind of understand what you have to do and you're checking and you're not making those major mistakes and you know that make your attachments, they'll turn your permissions on. We just don't like let everybody add edit as general rule because it's MLS live listing, and trouble come down on you for it. So just come in if you want to be able to edit or do anything. Because like I say, if you get caught on a Saturday at 9 o'clock at night, the front desk staff isn't there anymore. And say you want to edit your listing or say you want to load a listing because you really want it on for first thing Sunday morning. Well, you got to learn how to do it at the end of the day. And like I say, Stratus is out as of July 30th. So it's all in Realm after that. So you might as well practice your next couple listings, load them in Realm. It's better you struggle now than when you have to, when you have no choice. Right. So now is a time to learn it for sure.
Christine, others people listing also you can try for practice.
Other people listing?
Yeah.
What you can do, Bilkis, is you can just go and you know how I was just pretending to do this one? Like I'm not actually loading this property. Just make sure you don't hit submit at the very end and load the listing. Just go through and pretend and make a draft, because this is not a listing I'm going to load. This is one that's currently live, right? In EO4 in Dorset Park right now. But if I go here into my drafts, right, I can play around with it and figure out all the different tabs, right? So just pretend to list your own property that you live in. You know what I mean? And go through and fill everything out and check everything and just learn how to use it all. And don't actually submit it and load it live. If you do, you got to call the front desk quick and terminate it.
Delete it. There's option to delete.
No, you can't delete it. I can keep this draft in here forever, but once you make it live to MLS, you can't delete it. You have to terminate it properly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'd have to fill out a form
But
saying,
you don't submit it, eh?
Yeah, don't submit it. Don't
but
submit
you
it.
can delete.
I don't know. Can you delete a draft? Let me go back and see.
Yeah, but
I
if
haven't
you
done.
submit it, there's no option to delete it, but
Yeah, if you
don't
submit it,
submit
you have to terminate it like a proper listing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me just go here.
Delete, but
Oh, here you go. I can
Yeah,
delete a
because-
draft. So that one I just did, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna delete it. Oh, I gotta put the MLS number in and everything. Anyways, yeah. So regardless, there's no harm in going and making a draft and learning. It's just like practice, you know, but just don't hit the submit button. So say I wanted to make this listing live, right? Oh, it says I'm missing something in other here. See, this is where it's really good and lets you very easily see what you're missing. So it's asking me for occupancy. I'm going to say it's owner. And then location, what am I missing? Oh, the legal description. Huh. We got to grab that off of Geo Warehouse. So, oh, it's going to reset on me now. I'm just going to put something in there, but make sure you copy and paste from Geo Warehouse what the legal description is. So I'll just put some numbers in right now. So going to validate, right? If I go next, oh my God, I'm still missing something other here. What are we missing? Contact after expired. Oh, okay, so we're always picking no for our clients, obviously. We don't want them to contact. Oh, I thought I picked no already. There we go. Okay, so once everything is filled out, the reason I wanted to do that, everything is filled out, this submit button comes up now because it's letting me know that all the mandatory fields are filled out. So now I have this blue submit button. If you click that, it's going to make the listing live. So I'm going to end up listing this 111 Wilkes, right? Just don't click that button at the end of the day. Just fill out all the tabs. Hey, Bilkis, if you're practicing, don't click the blue button. Put like a piece of tape over it or something so you don't click it. But yeah, go ahead and practice and just pretend to load anything. Load your own listing. Like I say, load your own house that you live in for practice. All right, everybody, you know how it is. It's a whole hour goes by very quickly with us, and I talk and talk and talk. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Next Tuesday, no training. We're not here. So I'll see you guys in two Tuesdays from now.
So
For the next.
this video you are uploading?
Yeah, always. I'll
video?
upload it
Okay.
to YouTube and I'll send it out later. Send the link out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Christine.
No problem. No problem. Have a good morning.
Yeah, good evening again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.